At what age did you make your first dunk?
13.
How tall were you at that
I was
time?
about 5.
Who are some of your favorite NBA dunkers currently?
Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
But you know what? One thing about Zion does it in traffic.
Have you ever broken a rim?
I've shattered a backboard.
Who was your biggest rival player in the NBA?
One guy that made me nervous, and that was Bernard King. Larry Bird, Dr. J,
Right.
Mark Aguirre.
You really had
I had some
guys.
Johnson, 19-footer. No. Find Wilkins. Look out.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. As you see, I got the man, the myth, the legend, the human highlight film, Dominique Wilkins. What's going on, man?
Yeah, good, man. Good
Appreciate
to see
you having
again.
me, man.
Good to see you again.
For sure, man. As I told him before, we have a lot to unravel, man. It's been a long time, man. I've actually known you since like 2015.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I'm not sure if you actually remember this, but we did a commercial together.
Which one was?
You probably don't remember this, but we did a commercial together for Victoza.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I actually saw you in person, and I said, it would be cool if you can throw me an alley-oop in a commercial. And you were like, I like that idea.
Yeah, I didn't have to do it.
But
I didn't have to do it.
Yeah, but you were like, you like it, and the directors were like, oh, we like that idea too. You actually threw me an alley-oop, and I made the dunk, and I was like surprised that you actually wanted to do it.
It's always cool to add something different, something that's kind of, is not prompted type of an event. So,
Right.
When you can have commercials like that where they can let you do a little extra and do your own thing,
Right.
that makes it, in my opinion, it makes it that much better.
Right. No, so that was like a super dope experience for me because that's when I was actually kind of getting my feet going in LA as far as doing commercials and things like that. And so to do a commercial with one of the best dunkers, one of the best basketball players ever, I thought that was something that kind of like helped me out, throughout my career.
That was fun, man. That was fun. Weather was good.
Yep.
We had a good time. It was early though. We had some early mornings.
For sure. Also, another thing, you were actually the judge of one of my dunk contests, the SB dunk contest. It was at Staples Center.
That was a while ago.
2014, 2015.
Yeah.
I forgot. It's a while ago.
Wow.
At least like 8 years ago. And it was crazy because I ended up doing the dunk. You and Cedric Sabalas were the judges.
We were the judges.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember.
And I remember I did my final dunk, and it was like a 540 or something like that. I dunked the ball, and you threw the scorecards up. And it was like super dope experience because it was only one. I won it, but I remember when I won, you came up to me and you was like, man, for a little fella, that's some pretty good hop.
That's man. And I was like, we don't need to see no more.
Well, for a little fella, that's pretty impressive, man.
I mean, that was pretty impressive. Especially when you got a smaller guy doing those creative dunks like that. It makes the dunk look better. When you have a lot of tall guys in dunk contests, it's not the same.
Right.
Because a lot of the dunks people expect them to do. But when you got a smaller guy going out and showing creativity like that, man, it makes for a great dunk contest.
Right, absolutely. Let's touch on a few things, man. So one thing about you that I want to highlight to a lot of people, and which is one thing that's inspired me, is that, throughout your career, people fail to realize like what you were doing on the court outside of slam dunking the ball, And I watch your highlight films like since I started dunking. So I've been watching. I can see why, because your dunks were that explosive that it's hard to like highlight the other stuff because it was that crazy.
Something? Really, I use dunking for a tool, and I've said this time and time again. I used it for a tool for intimidation. It really wasn't who I was totally, because I learned how to play the game on the ground as well as in the air. What I mean by that, I had to become more fundamentally sound. And when you do that, man, you create other opportunities in your game. I mean, I have games where I have 40 plus, 50, and maybe had 2 dunks the whole game.
Exactly, though. That's the thing I used to see. Like, people didn't pay attention too much to that nowadays, and maybe back then.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you were a guy that always considered way more than a dunker. And you
But
would.
my peers knew. They knew.
They
They
knew,
knew
okay.
I brought more than just that, because you don't win 50-plus games, a season, 4, 5, 6 years in a row.
You average.
dunks,
Let me tell you, I'm telling the fans out there, Dominique averaged 25 points a game for 10 straight years. And was it 85? I believe it was 85. You averaged 30 points a game. So let's put that in perspective. Steph Curry averages 30 points a game. And he shoots a lot of threes, which is great. But imagine not shooting threes and having to average 30. Being a franchise player, you saw so many double teams.
Well, people can't fathom that.
Yeah.
Because they think the only way you can get to 30 a game is
You gotta shoot
you gotta have 3.
You gotta have 3 or 4.
You
Yeah.
don't. And if you don't believe that, ask DeMar DeRozan.
Exactly. We were just talking about
He
him.
rarely ever make a 3 in the game.
Right.
But you look up 28, 29, 30 plus every night.
Right.
And even the great scorers in the league, like Steph, like KD, and all those guys who are great jump shooters, 3-point shooters, still shoot a ton of mid-range shots.
Right.
And so they mix their game because they're great 3-point shooters. People think that's all they do.
Right.
And they have complete games. They do everything. And so people get enamored with just the slam dunk and
Right.
forget about the other parts of your game. And unfortunately for us as athletes, we always get labeled as just dunkers.
Right.
And it's just crazy to me. I mean, because I had people even ask me, man, could you shoot from the floor? I'm like, huh? What?
But I like that. I like that because I feel like with slam dunking, people always, they didn't want to get you to drive by because they knew what time it was. If you drive by them, it's a dunk.
Like all these
But so
mid-range-
now they're backing up, but I'm like, thank you.
Hey, listen,
Appreciate it.
they didn't back up on me at all.
Because they knew you
because
had the
they knew I could
mid-range,
shoot the
yeah.
jump. I mean, I was a mid-range nightmare for a lot of guys,
Mm-hmm.
and usually a lot of guys who were mid-range scoring. Now, I was doing that back then, but they don't advertise that.
Yeah,
When
exactly.
they advertise, oh, there's Nico on the break. Oh, Nico's 2-time slam dunk winner. I'm like, the slam dunk contest to me is what I did for the fans.
Right.
It wasn't who I
No,
was.
because but in the game, I have to say in the game, some of these dunks were crazy.
Wait, I had fun.
You were windmilling 2 hands. Now, with 2-hand windmill is crazy. Now, that even for like as a 2-foot jumper, a 2-hand windmill is tough.
It is tough, especially when
You were
first
doing this
start
in the
doing it.
game on people.
But you know what? I just started messing around with stuff in practice. I would come down to practice, just do something crazy, like because I used to be a 1-foot jumper.
Oh wow, didn't know
Then all of
that.
a sudden, I turned into a 2-foot jumper, and it's stuck with my whole career. But the reason why is because when you jump off 2 feet, you know this. Even if you get bumped in the air, you can still
can
finish
adjust.
the play.
Exactly.
And so it was all about balance for me.
Hear that balance. It's with
But
2
you
foot.
know, a lot of guys, when you go in the basket, you get touched just a little bit, can throw you off. So
Yeah.
you don't have that balance. But when you go off of 2 feet in a crowd, and most of my dunks in a crowd was off 2 feet.
Yeah.
And so guys would get out the way. And that was my whole thing, is just try to dunk as hard as I could to deter them for trying to challenge it. But big guys didn't care. They were going to try to challenge anyway.
Yeah.
But it just, like you just said, it just amazed me that people don't see the totality of your game.
Exactly.
I'm like, guys, it's very difficult to get 26,000 points on dunks.
Exactly. On dunks. And then
Very difficult.
when you're the franchise player, and this is one thing I always highlight about franchise players, you were seeing double teams every single night.
Every night.
Because people knew what you can do. So how are you going to score? All right, let's 3 of us block the hole, and you turn around shooting a fadeaway.
I mean, my favorite part of the game was mid-range, was bank shots, footwork and those sort of things, because I had to have a counter to the defense counter. And so I used to work on 1 or 2 new things every year for my first 4 years, where I built the arsenal where one guy wasn't going to guard me. I don't care who he was. And that's our mentality, is what we thought. Michael Jordan, same way, he'd tell you the same thing. And we found different ways to beat you, different ways to score. And it wasn't just about getting in the fast break, because a lot of times you had to be able to score in a half-court set.
Yes.
And so, man, I scored anywhere on the floor. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have a really favorite spot. I just took what the defense gave me.
Man, that's great to hear. So now I have a series of rapid fire questions I have for you. First off, you were also you're the first person I ever seen to do a 360 layup in a game. You have a few of those in the highlights.
No, actually, I didn't. Well,
Before,
actually, two was in the All-Star
people
game.
think it was John Wall. He used to do the 360 layups. I'm like, no, this is before John Wall was even born.
Actually, I did 2 in the All-Star game.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
They had Michael Jordan and Dr. J on the sideline, just like.
Well, you know what? It was Kareem under the basket. I didn't want to challenge him, so I said I want to try to get around him. So I jumped. He jumped, and I just 360 and laid it in off the glass, and they like, whoa.
Yeah.
Then I did it a second time in the first half, and man, it was amazing the response that I got from that.
That's great to hear. Let's go. So, Eric, I got some rapid fire questions for you. At what age did you make your first dunk?
13.
13.
13.
How tall were you at that
I was
time?
about 5'8", maybe.
5'8", making his first dunk.
Yeah,
I think I grabbed the
5'8",
rim
5'8", 5'9".
at 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah.
First time I grabbed the rim.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite NBA dunkers currently?
Oh man, John Collins, John Morant.
Yeah, those guys are jump.
John Morant, man, he's something. Vince Carter was before he retired last year.
Right.
But that's been a long. He's been 4 decades, so and we ain't gonna count him. He's another category.
You can always come.
We
Carter.
always can use him.
Yeah, right.
Man, there's so many. There's so many guys in the league who play the Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
But one thing about Zion does it in traffic. It ain't like he just getting the open floor.
But that's what you did.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of that.
That's what I was going to ask. That was actually my next question. Which dunker most reminds you of yourself in the NBA
I think
today?
I would say Zion Williamson, the way he's able to dunk in traffic. There's not a lot of guys who can finish in traffic. I'm not just talking about catching a lob
Right.
or catching one off the rim. I'm talking about actually making a dribble to it and go up in a crowd.
Absolutely.
And throw it. He can do that.
Who gave you the nickname Human Highlight Film?
Man, that's a great question. Actually, most people thought I got that name in college or pros. I had that name since 11th grade.
What?
And I got that name in Homesdale, Pennsylvania, a 5-star basketball camp. At that time, a guy named Howard Garfinkel ran the top camps in the nation. And I had 41 in the All-Star game. They couldn't tell how I was scoring, so they said, you know what, we just gonna call him the Human Highlight Film. And then, when I heard it, I said, what is that? I hated it.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't like it.
Wow.
No, I didn't like it. But as I grew, got a little older, I was like, hold up, I can make a little money off this name.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it stuck to this day.
Wow, I love that. Have you ever broken a rim?
Yes.
You broken a rim before?
I've shattered a backboard. It wasn't intentional.
Oh, really?
It
Okay.
just happened.
It just shattered.
Yeah.
Dang. I haven't broken a rim. I've gotten like a screw off the rim a couple times. Like I've dunked and a couple screws fell out, but never shattered a backboard.
It's harder now because all the rims are breakaway.
Oh yeah,
So
right
back
now,
when
yeah.
when I broke one, it was, it wasn't no
was
break.
just glass,
It
yeah.
was just glass. And
Right.
I mean, it was bolted in.
Who was your biggest rival player in the NBA?
Oh man, at my position, it's hard to say one guy, but I tell you, at the small forward position in the '80s was a son of a gun. I had to. Well, I put it this way: I never feared anybody ever played. The one guy that made me nervous, and that was Bernard King.
Bernard King.
He was a
I
machine.
have
He
to go
getting
look that
40
up.
and nothing you can do about it. I used to say to him, I said, you know what? He gonna get 40. I'm gonna get 40. We call it a wash. I ain't gonna kill myself trying to chase this guy. But Larry Bird, Dr. J,
Right.
Mark Aguirre,
You really had to
I
get
had
some guys.
monsters.
You had to.
James Worthy, Nance, English, Dantley.
You had Dr. J
Yeah.
and Larry Bird in the Eastern Conference.
In either conference, you had Larry Bird, you had Dr. J, you had Bernard King, you had Marcus Johnson. Then coming over to the Eastern Conference I had Adrian Dantley at one point over there, Mark
Oh my
Aguirre,
gosh, you had everybody.
Larry Nance.
But you were dunking on these dudes too. I'm
man.
watching these highlights.
Man,
but they understood like, okay, he's going to dunk on me, but they still got him.
But I'm gonna tell you, it came down to just one-on-one battles with
Right.
those guys. Man, I played against some guys. You had no.
Yeah, you so many Hall of Famers like that you're playing against. What type of shoes did you wear back when you were playing?
Well, the shoe that I was most known for was Reebok pump.
Reebok
but
pump.
actually, when I first came in the league, I wore Converse.
Okay.
And then I went to Brooks for about 2 years, 3 years. Then I was with Reebok for like 30 years.
Wow.
You know, even after I retired.
The Reebok pumps, though, I remember those, yes.
Yeah, we did some cool stuff even after I retired with Reebok. So, yeah, I've been with them a long time.
In today's NBA, let's just say if you were in the NBA today and you're in your prime, do you think you would have been able to do some of the dunks that you see today, as far as some of the crazy dunks?
Man, I did those back then.
I knew the answer to that one. I just want to hear you say it.
It was nothing different.
Like, I feel
it
like
was nothing different.
You in your
today
prime.
Yeah, man. It was nothing different today than what we did back then. I mean, I mean, you look at the high flyers, and forget about Jordan and myself. Look at Sean Kemp.
Exactly.
He was a flyer, man.
Right.
I mean, you know, Barkley was a guy with attack the rim. I mean, we had so many guys.
Barkley
so
has so much power.
So much power. There was so many guys who jumped like that. I mean, we had some leapers in that era. I mean, when I played with the Atlanta Hawks back then, our whole team could dunk the ball. Everybody.
Yeah, from Spud to
Everybody.
Doc.
Yeah, we were athletic, man. We had a very athletic team, man. So we all played above the rim.
Okay, so I actually want to show you a couple of things too. All right, so I got this shirt made during my dunking prime. I got to show you this shirt. Now this is like the dunking evolution shirt.
Okay.
All right. So you got Dr. J. He was a little bit before you, right?
Yeah, right.
Then you came along, and Michael Jordan, Sean Kemp, Vince Carter, and I put myself.
Of course,
out there.
yourself. Yeah.
the next evolution.
I
but,
like that shirt. That's a nice
honestly,
shirt, man.
Yeah, so
That's real cool.
had to show you this shirt. I think a few times we were on like Twitter, and I had to wear the shirt. I'm like, I got Dominique Wilkins here. I had to show off the shirt a little bit.
Yeah,
but
that's tight shirt. I like that.
This is a shirt, man. This is like, you guys really don't understand, like, as far as when it comes to dunking, what you've done for us. Because for as professional dunkers, we've made it a sport. You know, if it started off as a competition, but eventually it became lucrative. We started to find different events where we're able to, you know, make money off of it and make it a constant thing.
No, it's for the fans, man.
It's
for the fans, and it brings fans joy. And it's just fun to be around when you have some of the best dunkers in the world going head to head. That's what it's all about.
Right.
You know, that's what people come to watch. And so to be recognized as some of the greatest dunkers ever, man, that's a heck of an honor.
Right.
So, you know, for me, even though I would love for people to talk more about my complete game than just dunking, but dunking, keeps you relevant.
You know, at the same time, I think, like, you know, I look at the positives in it, you know, because not many people can do it to that extreme level. And, you know, it's a good and a bad thing, but at the same time, people have to highlight what it is. Like, you know what, he did a lot of stuff, but this dunking was so amazing that it almost overshadows.
Well, it was a high. It was a high for me because not only did it get me motivated, it got the crowd motivated.
Yeah, and I feel like with slam dunking, it's a adrenaline boost, you know what I'm saying, for the crowd. It changes the momentum of the game. When you catching tip dunks. And that's one thing, I'm like, I wonder how many rebounds he averaged a game or how many rebounds he actually got overall in his career because of so many tip dunks. I've never seen someone catch that many tip dunks.
You know what it was? When I took a jump shot, I knew
if it was in or not.
I knew if I was gonna miss the shot, put it that way. I knew, and then I knew how it was gonna come off. So my whole thing is when I shot it, I would automatically chase, so I would get in front of the defense.
I've seen you. I've
if
seen
it
the
come
video.
Off, ain't nobody gonna stop you because I'm already in front of the guy who's guarding me. And so a lot of times when you take the shot, they turn.
Yeah, so they turn to look at the back.
And then once they turn, I'm going right behind. And I did that time and time again.
I seen a shot. You shot a shot like a mid-range, and you followed the shot. And so everyone turned this way, and by the time the ball hit the rim, you had already caught the tip dunk.
And I used to get one or two a week, you know, in games, you know. But it was just a quick way to get points, and it was another way to motivate your teammates. You know, they like, whoa, you know, and then that adrenaline kicks in, man. Like, and a lot of times if I was tired, if I was a little sore or whatever, and I get something like that early, I forget about what I was tired about. I forgot about being sore, and it was just for me. It just helped lift my emotions and my spirit and that adrenaline all at the same time. And That's the thing that really brought me joy in the game. To see my teammates kind of benefit from that because of the energy.
Right.
And that's what it's about. If teammates, man, especially as a leader, if you bring that energy, your teammates will follow.
Absolutely. You were nominated. You were inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2006. How did that feel?
It was the most surreal moment that I've ever felt, outside being, selected to 75th graders.
You should have been in the 50, but
I agree. I agree. I agree.
We'll
I agree
talk about that
100%.
later.
But that was surreal.
That was actually, we talked about that as far as you should have been in the top 50, average 25 points, 10 seasons, 30 points a game at one point, one of the best small forwards ever of all time. But okay, let's go back to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable moment. It was my younger son just was born, and I drove up in an RV. I didn't fly, so I drove an RV from Atlanta to Springfield.
Okay.
And I remember when I got there, I laid my jersey on the floor, laid my son on top of my jersey, and I happened to look up, and they were sliding my picture into the dome. Man.
Wow.
That's the only time, or the first time, I got so emotional, I couldn't control it.
Wow.
And that was the most surreal thing for me.
Man, that's crazy to hear. And congratulations on that. Obviously, it's a long time ago, but still, to tell you in person.
Still seems like it's yesterday.
Man, but that's an honor. I mean, honestly, you worked your whole life to make that moment happen,
Right.
and you definitely deserved it. For me, one of the greatest dunkers of all time, one of the best players of all time, you definitely motivated me as a slam dunker to enhance my career. Right. I watch a lot of your all your videos, honestly, and I take a lot of my style from you. Same type of styles, like I'm a 2-foot jumper, and just your power in the dunks.
Well, as a 2-foot jumper, the control you get with that.
Yes, I preach on that, honestly.
And the height you get on that, man, it's amazing, because I've had games where, I went to the middle and come back to the baseline and someone covers the rim like this, and I'm able to turn. While they're going up, when I'm coming back around, they're coming down. I'm still going up, And those are the most amazing dunks I think I've had. I had one on Bob Lanier at the end of the game was like that, where I came to the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
They cut me off, went back baseline. He went up and covered in front of the rim, and I went up, and I turned. I think I closed my eye. I think I was scared because I didn't want to get hit. And when I came back on, he was coming down, and I dunked him right on cue, right on the buzzer, and we won that game. He didn't forgive me for 9 years until after we retired.
I probably wouldn't forgive you. It would take me a while.
He held it. He said, "Man, I hated you when you did that." He said, "But I'm just starting to like you now." But we was retired, and I'm like, "Really?
All
for
this
real?"
time.
Yeah, but hey, back then, them guys took it personal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it was a very physical game, and to be playing above the rim.
Yeah, people don't realize how physical it was. And to do that with that type of physicality.
Yeah, because people were knocking you out the air or whatever,
They would knock you out. And a lot of times, it wasn't so much to hurt you. It was just to help you to think about coming back.
Yeah, don't come down here.
But a lot of people, when they think about that era, they think, oh, they bully ball. What is bully ball? I don't even know what that is. We just play physical basketball, and our bodies was conditioned to deal with that. Because that's what it was about. That's how you competed. That's why they call it competing, because you wanted to play against the best, and you knew it wasn't going to be easy. And I just want people to realize that league back then wasn't a boxing contest.
Right.
It was competing.
Absolutely.
It was doing whatever you need to do to win, period. But I just wish they stopped trying to discredit us to prove their point. You know what I mean? So.
Right. It was different eras at that time, and so like I said, for your era, it's so much appreciated. And like I said, I can't thank you enough for having me here, man. I've been wanting to do this interview for a long time, man.
Oh man, anytime, man.
And I definitely appreciate that. Thank you guys for watching. Again, this is Dominique Wilkins, Hall of Famer, one of the best basketball players, greatest slam dunkers of all time, one of the GOATs. I refer to you as the GOAT. Every time I message you, I'm like, what's up, GOAT? Because you're one of the guys that's actually that's motivated me to be where I am today. So I definitely appreciate you.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks
sure.
for coming out, man. That's fun.
Make sure you guys like, subscribe. I got Dominique Wilkins' Instagram right here because he does a lot of content as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, hope you guys love the video. More videos coming your way soon. I'm Chris Staples, Human Highlight Film, Dominique Wilkins. We out. And so today, I'm telling you that I'm gonna recreate your dunks from the 1985 Slam Dunk Contest. You tell me if it's close. I can't really recreate greatness like this, but I can do my best.